Are we ready to get started?
I believe we have in person, except for Miss Brown. She won't be joining us this evening.
Miss Spicer, were you talking to me or I couldn't, I heard like the middle of what you were saying.
I said yes, we are ready to get started. Everyone is here in person except for you, and we know that Miss Brown will not be attending.
Okay, is Mr. Spears and Miss Lewis there?
Mr. Yes. Spears, Mr. Lewis, and Miss Lewis are here. Mr. Spears is driving the YouTube. And Mr. Lewis will be right back, but everyone's here. So we can do that during roll call.
Okay, great. Thank you guys and welcome to our second local school council meeting. My name is Stephen Mitchell. I am the local school council chair. As a preliminary matter, before we can proceed with this meeting and allow me to participate remotely, we have to move and vote on that per the rules. Unlike Robert's Rules of Orders, where the chair cannot make motions, I've cleared it with our consultant and our local school council contact. He said in local school councils, the chair can make motions. So for those sticklers, that's an exception to the Robert's Rules of Orders that we have loosely adopted. So I'm going to make a motion that you all allow me to participate remotely for this local school council meeting because I'm here for business as well as visiting my mother, who I haven't seen since beginning of COVID.
Second.
Okay, great. Thanks. Second, is there any discussion? Okay, so we'll call the vote. All those in favor of allowing me to participate remotely, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, great. Thank you guys for allowing me to participate remotely. That was a unanimous vote. We can move right into the roll call. And for those watching us remotely, we are working our way through a lot of this stuff procedurally for the first time. We receive a little bit of training. So if it seems like things are a little bit not so sure, we're just kind of learning our way through this, and we're going to make it work. So I think we'll have Raynanda do the roll call vote, who is the secretary for the meeting.
Mrs. Townsend is unavailable. I would like to make a motion to have Ms. Barclay, our vice chair, do the roll call.
Second.
Okay, great. The motion has been made and second. Any discussion regarding that? All right, great. We'll call the vote. All those in favor of Ms. Barclay being able to do the roll call, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Mrs. Barclay, would you please do the roll call?
Stephen Mitchell.
Present.
Charles Barron.
Present.
Joyce Brown. Dwayne Davis.
Present.
Richard Flowers.
Present.
Eugene Lewis.
Present.
Jennifer Lewis. Present. Tamara Pope. Present. Nicole Spicer. Present. Raynanda Townsend. Present.
Great. Thank you. We'll move right into the approval of the minutes. Did everybody receive a copy of the minutes? And did everybody get a chance to review it?
Mr. Mitchell, point of clarity, Mr. Spears is left off the roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who's it?
Present.
Okay, did we get everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now we'll move right into the minutes. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes? And did everybody get an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
All right. Were there any well, I guess we could get into that, but procedurally, were there anybody that think we left anything off or need to change the minutes?
I move we accept the minutes as distributed.
If there's no additions, revisions to the minutes, there's no cards.
I can't hear you, Richard. Say it again.
If there are no additions or revisions to the minutes as presented by the secretary, there is no need for a motion.
Okay. And for those of you wondering, Mr. Richard Flowers is our parliamentarian, so he's going to keep us on point when it comes to the rules. So are you saying we don't need to approve them?
Not unless, well, you asked for if anybody wanted to make any changes, whatever, any omissions to them.
Correct.
So there aren't any, so you don't.
Dr. Barron, I can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the minute roll call. I don't see my name as being present.
From last time.
But it's not.
Mr. Spears, do you see me trying to get into the virtual one?
I'm sorry?
Do you see me trying to get in? So, Mr. Mitchell, there's one correction.
It's a YouTube link, so if you're trying to watch the
Ms.
meeting.
Townsend needs to add Mr. Barron to the roll call.
For last meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So in that case, then we do require a motion to accept. I move that we accept the minutes with the necessary revisions, adding Dr. Barron to be showing Dr. Barron as present.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion regarding that? All right, great. So we'll call the vote. All those in favor of that change, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So now, Richard, do we need to actually approve the minutes again now, or was that considered approval with that modification?
That was considered approval with that modification.
Okay, awesome. Next, approval of the agenda. Now, is this something we have to vote on, or I mean, we sent the agenda. I didn't know this was something we had to approve.
I think it's just if someone wants to add.
Only if someone, so the feedback is only if someone wants to add something. I know that Mr. Spears shared with me, where our public comment is listed. It's listed in the first 15 minutes of the meeting. So I'm gonna defer to Mr. Spears, to speak on that point, and then we can make a decision based on the discussion.
I do recommend that we move the public participation to the end of the meeting to allow for people who have questions about things that we've talked about during the meeting to ask those questions. So I guess I would make a motion to move the minutes to the end of the, move the public participation to the end of the meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion regarding that matter? I couldn't hear any discussion.
No.
No discussion.
Okay, great. All right, all those in favor of moving the public comment to the end of the meeting, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. And just for a point of discussion, I also learned that, and this is for the public too, while we can add items, if we agree to the agenda, we cannot add items and vote on them that were not current, that we did not post on the agenda. So just for a point of clarification. All right, so now we're going to move right into the principal's report with Mrs. Spicer.
Good evening, everyone. I am excited to share my first official principal's report. I do have 6 domains that I'm going to go through, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. Hard copies are being provided to our secretary, Mrs. Townsend, and to our vice chair, Mrs. Barclay, in the absence or the physical absence of our chair, Mr. Mitchell. In domain 1, school leadership, our current school enrollment is 380. We are short 6 students from the district projection of 386. We have 8 pending offers that expire on Monday, August 15th, and our goal enrollment is 404, meaning that every seat K-6 would be filled. We have 6 new staff members joining us. Mrs. Strickland in kindergarten, Ms. Such in 3rd grade, Ms. Truhoff Ali in 5th and 6th grade ELA, Ms. Sigelko in 5th, 6th math, Ms. Chan in intermediate DL teacher, and then Ms. Wallace as a school counselor. We did not lose Ms. Cannon. We are just fortunate enough this year to have an additional counselor. Ms. Keepers has transitioned to our instructional core intervention teacher and will work closely with Ms. Wesley, who supports our literacy intervention. Ms. Ortiz will be nominated as our new case manager. We have 3 BCS teachers who are hosting teacher residence this year: Mrs. Battle, Ms. Friedel, and Mrs. Hickman. Ms. Button resigned and moved back to Ohio to be closer to family. Ms. Marrero resigned and has joined the team at the Golden Apple Foundation. During SY22, Ms. Friedel led the MTSS team with establishing a system of framework to provide additional support, academic and SEL interventions for students. This year, through year 3 of the Teacher Supporting Teachers Grant, Ms. Friedel will focus on using the framework and system with fidelity and increasing communication with all stakeholders. This continues to be one of our CIWP priorities. This week, the team is headed to Eaglewood Resort and Spa in Itasca to kick off the school year. Revive, rededicate, rise. The focus of the retreat is adult self-care, team building, and creating a sense of belonging and community. Next week, we will kick off Teacher Institute Week with the district's focus on the instructional core. Our theme is Together We Soar. Professional development around the instructional core, social emotional learning, and our new assessment system, iReady, and more. Principal Spicer and AP Bellamy attended the Network 9 Administrators Institute and Administrator Summit. The Institute was attended by all Network 9 administrators. The summit was attended by all administrators and CPS senior staff, and virtually by Mayor Lightfoot. In Domain 2, which is instructional leadership and professional learning, we have purchased the 4 agreements for the school leadership team, which will be our guiding principles on how we will build community and a sense of belonging amongst the staff. The school leadership team will be reading Leader Shift by J.C. Maxwell with the other Network 9 school leaders. Teams will be engaged in 5-week cycles of learning that focus on 3 key shifts. Focus on practice data, not just outcome data. Centering students in the instructional core, which is curriculum, assessment, instruction, acceleration practices, and academic and social emotional interventions. And centering on students and their needs regarding connectedness, belonging, and well-being. Our key performance indicators are attendance, misconduct, on-track rating, which is grades and attendance, and then observation of practice. District, network, and teacher teams will be conducting classroom visits to collect data and identify trends. The learning cycles are intended to engage the staff in active learning, ideally based on their collective inquiry or problem practice, or our CIWP areas of focus. The process will emphasize the importance of collaboration within teams, which the teachers find resources, use tools, and resources produced with colleagues. The school leadership team will meet consistently with all teams, including the diverse learner and essentials teams. Mrs. Spicer will be conducting one-on-one meetings with all teachers during the first 20 days of school. AP Bellamy will be meeting with all teacher assistants and special education classroom assistants. Collaborating with the MTSS team, BCS will continue designing an MTSS system for the 22-23 school year. This system will implement strategic interventions to support students in need. This system will also require a consistent MTSS team to support with academics and a behavioral health team to support with social and emotional learning. We will be participating in the Modern Classroom Project with the Chicago Public Education Fund to intentionally integrate blended classroom tools, self-paced structures, and mastery-based grading. BCS has also adopted Skyline for kindergarten through 6 social science, grade 5 and 6 science, and kindergarten through 6th grade Spanish. Our fifth graders will also be taking the Syllabus by Literacy exam this spring. Nearly half of our BCS Eagles earned recognition this past school year. Dimension 3, climate and culture. The counseling team will be focused on supporting teachers to provide Tier 1 social emotional lessons for all students K to 6. Weekly lessons will be developmentally appropriate and help students acquire effectively apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. We will also continue our partnership with Class Catalyst, which enables students to check in at the beginning of each class. Additionally, activities are provided as energizers or mindfulness exercises as needed. We are looking for more college pennants, donations. If you do not see your school, send us a pennant. We are resuming our college and career family spotlights. Be on the lookout for more information from our counseling team. Our security team is working closely with the Office of Student Safety as the district revises our emergency drills, visitor policies, and active shooter policies. Dimension 4, family and community engagement. AP Bellamy and Mr. Spears met with some families from our school community to discuss the year-long calendar. A draft will be shared today with a final copy shared at open house on August 31st at 5:30 p.m. Prospective families will be invited to open house events. The application window opens September 14th and closes December 2nd, which is earlier this year. Please tell all of your friends and family. We have partnered with a new vendor to manage our school communication. It allows everything to be housed in one location. Groups can be formed for activities and sports. Teachers can send class messages and more. We will cancel our account with Remind and S'mores. More information regarding the launch will be shared soon. We have also planned a welcome back event. It's Eagle Time for Friday, August 19th, 12 to 2. The update of our website has been a major hurdle this summer. We are still working on a solution. More information is to come. Please be sure to follow our Facebook and Twitter pages. Dimension 5, college and career readiness supports. This year, the sixth grade will begin working in Naviance. This system is designed to focus on guidance topics and help students to begin thinking about their secondary and post-secondary careers. To support these efforts, we have partnered with Beable, a multidimensional literacy system. Beable intertwines career exposure and exploration with literacy acceleration and content mastery. New this year, we will be implementing a middle school advisory supported by our counseling team. Naviance, a software tool that enables students grades 6 through 12 to conduct comprehensive college and career planning, will be utilized to help our students inform and set goals around their future. Dimension 6, fiscal management and continuous improvement. Principal Spicer is working with the Friends of Bronzeville Classical School to purchase the instruments with the grant awarded from the Friends Forever Board this past spring. We plan to work with our partners at Omni Ecosystems to evaluate the field north of Door 10 to determine a better use of space for our students and families. All digital and instructional subscriptions and supplemental instructional materials are being reassessed and paid for with student fees. This year, there will be an October 1st deadline for student fees, and we will be monitoring them closely. The first 20 days of attendance impacts our discretionary fund allocation each year. We are planning attendance incentives for the first week and throughout the school year. We are intentionally focusing on late arrival after 8 o'clock a.m. I have a few budget items that I need to go over with you all. The first is some internal account approvals. So as a part of the LSC responsibilities, any school checks that are remitted for over $1,000 need to be approved by our LSC. Internal account funds typically are generated through student fees and or fundraisers. Sometimes rental fees as well as donations. So there are 3 approvals needed today. The first one is for our Seesaw account, which is $2,394. This supports our CIWP priority in instruction. This is our digital student platform system where students are able to complete their work digitally or upload photos, and they are archived year over year to show student growth. I would like to make a motion that the LSC approves the check for our Seesaw account in the amount of $2,394.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion?
I have a question. Which grades will be required to use Seesaw?
We haven't made that determination as of yet,
Okay.
but this subscription will allow all students to have access to the Seesaw account. For some grade levels, it may not be mandatory to use for everything, but for kindergarten, it may just be specific pieces. But we'll make those developments the appropriate decisions together as an instructional team.
But the whole school has access.
Yes.
Great. Any more discussion on the motion? All right, there being no more discussion, all those in favor of paying for the Seesaw out of an internal account, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, Ms. Spicer, you have anything else?
Yes, the second approval requested is for celebration authorities in the amount of $4,999. This is to cover our entertainment for our It's Eagle Time event. This covers an inflatable obstacle course, inflatable slide, and 10 carnival games, and 3 generators. The amount is $4,999. It covers an inflatable obstacle course, an inflatable slide, and 10 carnival games, and 3 generators.
Is this for the back to school?
This is for the welcome back event called It's Eagle Time.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, Friday.
Yes, Friday.
It's so much going on.
Chair,
Yes.
there's a motion on the floor. It was properly seconded, and if you haven't called for discussion, which I don't believe you have, then we are out of order. Second.
Okay. So
So
is there any?
yeah,
So we should have discussion on the second motion, correct? If there's any.
so it needs to be moved and properly seconded, then there's discussion.
Come on in.
Right. And I think it was moved and seconded, correct?
It was not
It was
seconded.
just moved.
It was just moved. It was not seconded.
Oh, just moved. Okay.
So we have our second.
So now we have our second, so now we continue with the discussion.
Okay. So any discussion on the carnival games for the back to school event? Ms. Lewis, are you okay with it?
Yes, I'm okay. I was just clarifying. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't call it the right name.
Are you all having discussion or just, I mean, because I can't really tell.
Call the vote. Call the vote, sir.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the inflatables, I forgot what it's called, but paying for that
Celebration authority.
celebration authority, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. That motion passes. Looks like we have one more, right, Ms. Spicer?
That is correct.
Okay.
I would like to present Taylor's Taco Truck for food truck rental and then for tacos for the event. That is $1,400.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any discussion?
This is the same vendor that we used for the kindergarten celebration, and it was a big hit.
It was fabulous, but I'm just questioning how many servings it is because she had 300 at the kindergarten and we ran out. So I just want to make sure we have
That's what
enough.
people kept getting.
So I did the 300 knowing that it wasn't a like graduation type celebration, as well as it being during the school day or the work day. I just did not want to just have too much food. I would much rather run out, and then the friends are generously sponsoring an ice cream truck. And then for informational purposes, we are going to purchase some Italian ice treats. So it's really just light bites. You know, it's really not dinner. So
Mm.
hopefully everyone will get like 1 or 2 tacos and keep it moving.
We should make a sign.
We will. I'll probably pass out tickets. So that's a great idea, Ms.
Yeah.
Lewis.
And Miss Spicer, your philosophy is you'd rather run out than have enough. Is that what you said?
Oh.
Mr. Mitchell, if you would like for me to make a suggestion to increase the serving size, I would be more than willing to take that back.
Well, no, my suggestion. I want to understand your philosophy. I thought I heard you say you'd rather run out than something, and maybe
I
because
did say that I would rather run out because typically when we have too much food left over for an event, it sits in the staff refrigerator. They may warm it up one time and then it goes to the garbage. So I would much rather be like, hey, we ran out. Go get you some ice cream, get you Italian ice. Thank you, God bless. Go home. And then next year we can do 450 tacos. I just don't want to be waiting.
my recommendation would be to not run out and to have enough, because when you run out, people feel some kind of way. So
We can ask for integrity and only take one.
Well, they're gonna have.
Well,
tickets
Ms.
this
Lewis
time.
said that we're gonna ask the people to show integrity and only take one. But then, Ms. Barclay asked another great question about the budget. We do have, we do have money in the budget to increase the serving size. If that is the recommendation, we absolutely can do that. I just want to know from the LSC, what the approval or what the budget limit is going to be. Because this event is next Friday, and if we don't get approval today, I cannot cut the check. So if I'm getting, or if we want to approve this pending, additional servings up to a certain dollar amount, I'm okay with that. But today, based on 300 tacos, that's where we are at the 1,400. So I just would need a pre-approval for a set dollar amount.
If we did decide to do that, your original motion would need to be amended. So I just wanna put that out there. If we do decide to change the dollar amount, we would need to amend the motion that's on the floor.
Or you can rescind it
That too.
and
Yeah.
But I'll ask you a question. So, what's the expected attendance? I'm just asking, is it,
Yeah.
Well, we have 380 students. So I was thinking, let's say 150 people come, 2 tacos, 150 people, we should be good to go. I asked Mr. Spears last year about how many people came, but we really didn't have a way to keep count, because people came, people left. We was fighting the bees for the snow cones and the cotton candy, which you don't hear that this year, so we don't have to do that. So I was trying to think of something really easy, just grab it and go.
I think if it's a ticket gets you 2 tacos.
Well, that doesn't get you, at 380 students, 50% participation with just students is 190. Assuming that each student, let's assume that 85% of those are gonna have one adult with them. So you can't even give one person, every person can't get a taco.
Let me see how much
Which
it
I
would
think
be.
is
I
a bad
think I
look
had a.
for a back to school event, if you can't even, every person that attends can get one.
Sorry.
That's your calculation.
So 300
We need to double.
tacos. So
We need to double.
it sounds like we need to double, which is okay. So then I'm going to rescind my original motion, and my new motion is going to be an approval for $2,300 for Taylor's Tacos.
Second.
great. All right, hold on. The motion's been made in second now. According to Mr. Flowers, we're out of order if we talk in between. Now, we don't have to do all, I'm just saying, but am I right, Mr. Flowers? Are we supposed to have discussion after that? Okay, great. So is there any discussion on the new motion regarding increasing the number of tacos?
I was, just questioning how it gets to 2,300 if the initial price was 14.
Great question, Mrs. Lewis. So 300 tacos is $900. That includes 300 tortillas, extra juicy chicken, bangin' beef, and pretty portobello. And then the actual taco truck rental itself is 500. So if we wanted 300 more tacos, which is double, I'm just assuming it will be another $900. So I'm thinking at most I will need 2,300. The vendor may say, since you're doing 600 tacos, I'm not gonna charge you full price, maybe it'll be a package. But I'm thinking if we had to pay full price for another 300 serving, it would be $900. So my motion is for 2,300.
Thank you.
It is your choice to amend the motion, but my suggestion would be that you set a budget, because there's an opportunity to vote on it. I would suggest that you set a budget of $2,500 or $2,600, not to exceed that amount. Doesn't mean you have to spend that amount, but if you call them and it's $2,375, you don't have approval for $2,375. You have approval for $2,300. So I would go above, not the number that the council is comfortable with, not to exceed that number. So I would say $2,500, $2,600, which gives you some.
Anybody have, what do you all think? 25, 23?
I think, yeah, just say 26 is not to exceed.
Yeah, you don't have to spend 26. If it's 23, you spend 23.
All right, well, I'm gonna rescind my motion a second time.
Just, if you want, just amend them.
Okay.
Just
So,
amend.
what am I saying?
I
You
would-
would- I move to amend mine,
Alright.
now to 2,600, not to exceed 2,600.
I move to amend my motion for the amount to be not to exceed $2,600 for Taylor's Taco Truck.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on the newly amended motion to not exceed 2,600 for Taylor's Tacos?
Call for the vote.
All right, there being no discussion, all those in favor of amending the motion to not exceed 2,600, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. $2,600 taco, here we come.
I just have a few more financial things. I did just want to share informationally. We are working with A&M Italian Ice to have 150 servings of Italian ice flavored strawberry, blue raspberry, mango, sour apple, and watermelon. And because I am typically not the event planner, 150 servings probably is not going to be enough for this crowd. So I'm going to just ask for some discussion. I'm not making a motion because it's under our amount. Even if I doubled it, it would still be under our amount. So I guess I'm looking for feedback. Should I be doubling this amount?
Well, the question is, how many servings of the ice cream are you purchasing?
So I did ask that question, Mrs. Lewis. I was trying to use your brain when I was planning this. I did ask the Friends of Bronzeville, and they are not a per serving for the ice cream truck. The ice cream truck is per hour. And so I was really trying to think about like the lines, like with the taco truck, it was just a taco truck, and the line was so long. So I was like, if people want tacos, and people get Italian ice, and people get ice cream, but I did not plan for everybody to get everything either. Right? And we know we have those people.
And Miss Lewis, the ice cream truck is also typically based on the hour and the number of students. He understands that most of the time when we call him, we underestimate the number of people. So he's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than normal. Now, with A&M, Miss Vice, do you know if he's going to give a single or a double as a single serving? Have you talked with him?
It is a single scoop.
A single scoop or a single serving?
It is a single scoop serving.
Okay, because no, the reason I asked is because I just had him, and the serving was a double scoop, but I don't know if it was like a single, because I think.
Mitchell, you'll be proud of me. I negotiated because I felt like $4 per serving for Italian ice was way too expensive. It's outside of our budget. And
Mhm.
I asked him to do a kid scoop tasting serving size for $2.50. And so he did agree to go down to $2.50 per serving, but he did confirm that it will be a single scoop.
Okay, good. I would have negotiated to 2, but that was good for you. Thank you.
That's what I said.
Okay, I'm okay.
And so do we have the ice cream truck booked for the 2 hours? of the
Yes.
event?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have them booked, Miss Spicer.
I'm assuming.
Oh my God.
What's the?
12 to 2. I'm thinking that the Friends of Bronzeville is going to take care of that, but in good faith, we will have an ice cream truck, Mr. Mitchell.
Okay. All right.
Are we having a DJ?
So
We are.
So we can announce this too.
Yes.
nothing is required to vote here. We're just discussing the.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Right. Anything else, Miss?
And I just shared that we will be writing 2 checks to DJ Marcel, one for the welcome back event, and then one for the first day of school event. I'm sorry. MARCL. That's how I spell it. That's right.
I'm sorry, if you mentioned it, I apologize if I missed it. Can you cover the first day of school event? Or is that what
The first is we're just gonna have a DJ.
you do?
Yeah, just a DJ. And we also will have like balloons and like the balloon wall again like we had before, but that was taken care of already. Yeah, these announcements are just informational only because they're not over $1,000. Okay. Those are all my budget items. I do have copies of the school budget, internal accounts report, and position report if anyone wants to take a look at those. And I'll just pass that around.
All right, great. And the diverse learner component, you just covered that when you were talking generally about the school and that sort of thing.
No, I need to share a couple of things in that area. We do have 10 students who have individual education plans, which are also known as IEPs. 2 of those are students who only receive speech services only. The other 8 receive academic and social emotional support. We are we're on track for our compliance. We don't have anything out of compliance. All of our evaluations and reevaluations were on time. We don't have any ISB monitoring or auditing at this point, and we do not have any students who qualify for compensatory services because of anything related to the district monitoring. The only other big topic under diverse learners, it was with CPS transportation that does affect our options program. Historically, students who attend classical schools and regional gifted centers had a CPS transportation entitlement. Because of the continued bus shortage, we are no longer a priority group. So the way that student transportation is prioritized for this upcoming school year are diverse learners who require transportation, and then secondarily, any students in transitional living situations will be routed first. That's not to say that none of our students will be on those routes, but those are the students that they're routing first. They're also communicating to families that there could possibly be a 90-minute each way travel time if students are on CPS transportation because of the length of the routes that have to be. So they just want to be open with families. So anyone in our school that qualifies for bus transportation but is not routed will not be entitled to the $500 stipend per month. They will only be entitled to a free CTA bus card for the child and for the parents. And if families are interested in that benefit, they can definitely reach out to me and I can get them the application.
All right, great. All right, anything else under principal's report, Ms. Spicer?
No, that is it for me.
All right, great. Thank you very much. We'll move on to.
There's some discussion.
So, I mean, are there other ways, we thought of other ways to support families who may actually need transportation, but that's not being a part of it?
We do have some private the question was, what other resources do we have available? We do have some private transportation companies that, come by and drop off their information. And so typically, and I haven't done it with the existing families, so I could send an email, but with the enrollment packet, I always share the private bus transportation options with families, and so I can send that same information with those families. But I just fear that since we just found this out, late July, a lot of private transportation companies may already be full. But I think a lot of those companies started expanding because of the school bus driver shortage. So I do have a short list of companies that I can share with families. I am not saying that I vetted them or, I know their work. They've just dropped off their information to the school. And so I do have a short list of private transportation companies that I can share with families if they are interested.
This is a city-wide problem, a huge issue. There's been no troubleshooting for it. It's like a whole mess. It's just a mess everywhere, and everybody's finding out about it right now. And school starts early, so I think it's a case-by-case basis. If a family says it's going to be a hardship, then I think there's a question of what's happening. There's also a regional question to talk to the network chief about how do we address this. And all of the schools in the neighborhood that have programs like classical programs, gifted programs, they're going to have that same challenge.
I also am concerned about field trips. Like the primary team was very proactive, got their apple orchard date and everything. I still haven't been able to find a bus company to get us to Apple Orchard, and I've been trying since July. And that's even before school started. So I am very concerned about field trips as well. School buses used to be like around $250. They're now like $366, $400.
So, I'm always, but so what about, and it may be a little risky or whatever, but developing some type of platform for carpooling or for the parents to come together. I don't know if that's.
I think we may have someone here for public comment that may be able to speak to that carpooling solution. But in our school directory that we share every year that Mr. Lewis is working on updating, we do ask on there our families interested in carpooling. So if families are interested, we can definitely add that to the school directory. The address is there, so if it is someone that's convenient for you, then that definitely is a connection. Our new platform, which is going to be Parent Square, there'll also be an opportunity for families to connect with each other through that particular app and not have to be in the group meet, which is something else to check. I'm going to keep the group meets because I think the families really like that, and a lot of families are already there. But it'll also be that opportunity to connect and converse through Parent Square as well. No, great questions. Mr. Mitchell, I think that's it for discussion for me.
All right, great. Now we can move on. Thank you, Ms. Spicer, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. One more, sorry. The last thing is budget transfers. So anytime, in the spring, what typically happens is we get our discretionary funds and we allocate the budget in alignment with our CIWP. The budget is approved, and then it goes live in July of the following fiscal year. So for this fiscal year, I plan for us to have needs for instructional software, but not non-instructional software. So in order to move forward with the Parent Square account, which is our new communication tool, I needed to transfer money from the digital instructional line to the digital non-instructional line. And the cost of that contract is $3,500.
Second.
Yeah. So was there a motion made? I heard a second, but I don't know that I heard a motion.
The motion is to approve the budget transfer from instructional licenses to non-instructional licenses for Parent Square of the amount of $3,500.
Second.
Great. Any discussion regarding this motion?
Yeah. So what exactly is Parent Square?
It's like Remind. It's exactly like Remind,
Okay.
but any newsletters we can send out through there. So the
It's
feedback
better.
that I got was that we have a lot of communication coming a lot of different ways. So Parent Square is everything. I can send a newsletter. Teachers can send their newsletter through there. You can message back and forth like we did with Remind. You know how we had Dojo and we shared pictures from class. You can send pictures through Parent Square. So everything that we were doing on those multiple platforms, we can do everything through Parent Square. So parents don't have to go back and scroll through their email to see like, where was the newsletter from Ms. Lewis and Ms. Battle. They can just go to Parent Square, go to that particular classroom and have.
The other thing that the parents don't have to sign up for it. It connect with our student information systems,
Yes.
and so there's like an automatic like text message. So you have to opt out of that text message or email depending on how you set it up. So the parents have some autonomy to decide how they want to get that information because it's automatically connected. So we don't have to do anything. It automatically connects to Aspen for us and sends it out automatically. Now you can opt into more things, but it automatically will send to whatever phone number or email address is on file.
And we're choosing to do this because we're having trouble with the website? Or why
It's
are we
not.
choosing to do
It's
this?
not because we're having an issue with the website. I think that we need something that is more app-like, that can house multiple things and be mobile. The issue with the website is when we were a new school, the CPS communications department did our website, and so at that time, another school opened at the same time. So it's like our accounts were together. And so when we started trying to update it over the summer, they kept talking to us about these templates, and the template wasn't upgrading. And so when Ms. Suggs was trying to update it all summer, we kept basically getting a runaround of like, we can't really change it because if we change it, then we change the other schools. And so what it finally came to is that I think that the account that it was opened under is non-existent anymore because they can't find us in the system, and they want $7,000. And so I don't want to give them $7,000. So I need to probably figure out, A, is the district going to pay $7,000, or do I need to find another website company on my own?
And then B, you're confident that we still have enough money for instructional materials?
Yes.
If we use this program?
Because student fees also offset that as well. So because our discretionary funds are limited, that's always included in our student fee count, which is why we need families to support our student fees so that we do have the extra that we need.
And Ms. Spicer, as far as the website, I mean, I'm not following. They just did it wrong and they're trying to ask for more money and we're going to let them get away with that?
Well, I don't know if they did wrong, Mr. Mitchell. What I'm going to say is that I was not a part of the negotiation process for the website. So I don't know what was agreed upon. We're entering year 5, and typically contracts are between 1 and 3 years. So since we're entering year 5, it is possible that the contract just lapsed. And because it's not centrally funded anymore, nobody renewed it, and then nobody shared that information with me. So that could be why we can't update it. through Blackboard. So I just have to do some more digging, and it's gonna take longer than the start of school. So I wanna make sure that we have a clear communication plan going into the school year.
Gotcha. But I definitely don't think we should let them not give us a functioning website for 4 or 5 years and walk away with that. But we can deal with that later.
Thank you. But that
Okay.
concludes my report.
So we do have a motion and a second, and we just had discussion. Any more discussion on the motion? All right, we're going to call the vote. All those in favor of transferring the money to this account so that we can get this system, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So that has been authorized. Anything else, Ms. Spicer?
When you get back, I just need you to make sure you stop by so you can sign the form.
Okay, we'll do. All right, that concludes the principal's report and all those matters. Now we're moving on to new business, establishing meeting norms. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take that or Richard or.
So I do have them at the top of the agenda. There are 5. Be results oriented, be fully present, be respectful of others' time, assume best intention, and stay student focused. Those are our norms for all of our meetings in school, and so I did want to translate those over to our LSC meetings. But I just wanted to open it up to the full council to see if you all agree with those norms, disagree with those norms, or wanted to know more or add takeaway.
The
They
only
seem normal to me.
the norms are normal. As far as meeting norms, I will say that our meetings our protocol is based off of Robert's Rules of Order, but we are not following Robert's Rules of Order to the letter. So anybody that has questions about or that is super familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and feels that things aren't followed to the letter, that is because our meeting protocol is based off Robert's Rules of Order and not made to be ran through Robert's Rules of Order to the letter. But we will ensure that all protocols are in line with the LFC and the state of Illinois guidelines for LSC council meetings.
I think we're on that, a few of us on the committee to kind of talk about the processes and to get that done. So we have to have a subcommittee meeting in order to have that conversation. And also, we're all currently going through the training in order to do roles, responsibilities, and all of the process order things that according to the right rules.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Dwayne. Any more discussion regarding meeting norms? All right, cool. Move on to the rental agreement with the Ladies of Virtue.
So I'm excited that we do have a new partner this year. They're actually here with us today to share more about the organization and to present a little bit. I will tell you the ask, and then we can hear from them, and then I will make the motion at the end of or the conclusion of their presentation. But we are in the process of we would like to submit a request to the CPS real estate department to extend a leasing agreement to the Ladies of Virtue for their weekend programming. They can talk a little bit about some Bronzeville classical students may be attending on the weekend, but it is open to a larger group of youth. But during the school day or after school for an hour, Ladies of Virtue will be running a mentoring program for 20 weeks, one in the fall and one in the spring for up to 20 5th and 6th grade girls. Some of my 5th and 6th grade parents who are on the council this year know that it was a little challenging with our young ladies. And so we are being very proactive this year with really trying to create a sense of community, connectedness, and belonging amongst our young ladies. And Ladies of Virtue is going to support our work in that area. They also are a grant recipient from Bright Star Community Outreach. They're an active member of the Bronzeville Community Action Council. So very excited to bring on this community partner, but I'm going to turn it over to them for a really short presentation, and then maybe, then I'll do my motion and then we can do any discussion.
Okay, and it will be short. How are you? I don't know, should I stand? I didn't know.
You probably want to come over here because we are streaming so the people can see you.
That's fine. Hello to all those that are streaming. Really quick, thank you so much for inviting us into your meeting. My name is Kenya Mercer, and I'm Program Manager for Ladies of Virtue.
I'm Erica Slade. I am a co-lead for our gyms on Saturdays.
So really quick, just so you know what Ladies of Virtue is. So we were established in 2011. We are a mentoring and leadership program for young Black girls, but we don't exclude, but our target audience is young Black girls ages 9 to 18. And so we are just teaching our girls to be purpose-driven leaders, and we're doing that in 3 different ways. One is community development, character development, and civic engagement, and then also career readiness. And so we are very happy, as Principal Spicer said, we are going to be serving your girls, 5th and 6th grade, up to 80 girls through the entire 2022-2023 school year with our after-school program, which is the Love Club. So Ladies of Virtue, the organization in its whole, serves girls. We mentor, and we do that in after-school programs, in school, Saturday, workshops, community outreach, a bunch of different ways. We're going to be in here for the entire school year. Really excited about that. I encourage you to go down the hall. We've already started working on our little room because we've been offered a nice safe space for the girls to be able to express their emotions, for them to really develop a sisterhood. We're all about teaching our girls mentorship, and then also teaching them to be leaders, not just prepping them to be the leaders of tomorrow, as some would say, but really giving them the tools, the resources, and the opportunity and platform to lead now amongst each other, their families, their communities, their parents, and other girls in our program. So that's in school. We also have our largest program, which is our Saturday Institute, which is the premier program that started Ladies of Virtue, which is what we are seeking to do rental agreement for. And so Erica's going to tell you a little bit about that.
Thank you, Kenya. So we are here to ask you guys for 3 additional classrooms and access to the gym on Saturdays. We meet every Saturday from September to June from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That includes our college readiness program, as well as setup, cleanup, because we do serve snacks and meals to our participants while we're here. We have one for the Love Club. We will have another one as an office for LOB, and then we will have 2 classrooms used during the Saturday session, one for our gyms and one for our queens.
Gyms are our middle school and elementary, and then our queens are our high school girls. So, as she said, the program is open to the public, but we are offering free spots, automatic ends for all the girls that are served in Bronzeville Classical. So if there are girls that are not making the commitment after school but want to be in the Saturday or would like to do both, they are 2 different programs. They're definitely all one unit, one sisterhood, but they are offered immediate automatic end spots for our Saturday program.
Thank you.
A part of the leasing agreement is Ladies of Virtue will cover engineering costs to have the building heated or cooled over the weekend, and then their rental fee also will cover staff that has to be here on Saturday as well. So it really is not a cost to the school per se, because their rental fee will cover those expenses. It really is just providing the space to them.
Good question. How will you be using the classrooms?
You want to
So on Saturdays, we use the classrooms for different, so we split the girls in different groups, the gyms and the queens. We have a different curriculum for each group. It's similar curriculum, but it's different according to age of rank. So we would use them to go in the classrooms. We have girl talk discussions. We also have a slight curriculum that we follow, and we get the girls to think about whatever the topic is for that day in a different way that they would normally.
Do you anticipate like moving furniture around?
We probably wouldn't move any furniture around. We normally, would just adjust to the setup of the classroom.
I have a couple questions. One, there's a question in the chat. If you serve girls that are 9 to 18, why is this program only limited to 5th and 6th graders?
No, it's just 5th and 6th for our Love Club. That's the after-school
And
program.
that's the question. If we have children that are in school that attend Bronzeville that are 9 that aren't in 5th grade, why are they not allowed to attend?
So that was a principal decision for the targeted age range. So this is our first time partnering with Ladies of Virtue. I did initially think that it was a middle school program. I didn't know it went all the way down to 9 years old. And based on our misconduct data from last year, our targeted group is 5th and 6th grade. However, we can't always expand the program. This is just the beginning.
And I will just add to the way our curriculum is designed, it's designed by grade level. So there's a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up to 12th grade. We typically can combine some ages, like have 4th and 5th together, or 6th and 7th and 8th, middle school. It just really is based on what the need of the school is, which is why we had a conversation with AP Donnelly and Principal Spicer to see how we could figure out to serve, for this particular school year.
And then, sorry, that was a question from the chat, but then my question kind of piggybacks off of what Ms. Lewis had. It sounds like you've moved into the classroom. Right now, we go up to 6th grade, so there are 2 sets of classrooms that aren't used. But next year, we'll have a 7th grade, and you're asking for 3 additional classrooms. At what point then are you going to move out of those classrooms? In a year, we're going to be almost at a full range. So I want to understand when you say that you moved into a classroom, does that mean that you have permanent space in that classroom? Versus that you're going to move your things out every day after you use it?
Oh, no, it's just for Saturdays. We're just seeking for,
So
is that what you mean?
So it's not, so this year for the Love Club, they do have a classroom, that is just for them. But we will adjust as we grow. So we may not be able to have a dedicated space for, the Ladies of Virtue after school program moving forward. It just depends on how many classes we need permanently for our kindergarten through 8th grade program. But the classes that they'll use on the weekend will not be permanent spaces. So I think it's related to Ms. Lewis's question. So she asked, like, how do you use the classrooms? Because sometimes partners come in, they move furniture, or they use your stuff. So she was trying to figure out, like, are you just gonna come in, they're set up in rows, you're gonna roll with how it is in rows? Or if you do, move them out of rows, you gotta put them back in rows, when you leave, so the teachers come back to their stuff being right.
Gotcha. And I'm just being forward thinking. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
familiar with Ladies of Virtue, so I anticipate that this won't be a 1-year and done deal. So as we move forward, all the classrooms will be utilized by their grade groups. So I'm just trying to be forward thinking that if we enter into that commitment with an expectation that they have a dedicated classroom within 2 years, that classroom is not going to be available because I anticipate it will be helpful.
And that doesn't mean that the program can't be run without a dedicated classroom.
No.
So like in other schools, I don't get the lovely luxury of having a dedicated classroom, but we still have a program. So we can adjust.
Gotcha.
And forgive me, just legally leases have like square foot, where you're going to be, what you're going to do. Is this going to be just an open-ended sort of, we do it this year one time, you know what I mean? Just from a expectation, to Richard's point, like how will that work?
So all leases go through the CPS real estate office. They are annual, and there's an extensive questionnaire that we filled out with CPS so that they can draw up the leasing agreement. And then there's also a requirement for a certificate of insurance. And so we have all that whole package ready to give to CPS real estate. And once we get LSC approval, then they can process the lease. They will create the lease based on the responses from the questionnaire. We'll provide it to Ladies of Virtue. If they agree to the terms in the lease, they'll sign it, and then we'll move forward for this fiscal year, and then the next year we would have to do the same process over again through the CPS real estate office.
Okay, and how many students on the weekends?
So last year we serviced 108 students, and we had approximately 30 volunteers, staff members, and mentors.
And I'm assuming all the volunteers and everything will be screened and
Mhm.
meet the background checks for the CPS and all that, correct?
With extensive backgrounds of our mentors and volunteers.
So Ladies of Virtue is a CPS approved vendor, and so for vendor status, they have to go through the CPS background check, as well as have all the insurance riders for working with children. So all of that is done through Ladies of Virtue and the CPS background check team. But as an approved vendor, that process is already vetted again through the district.
Right. And then one last thing. I get that they'll pay for the security and the engineering, the heating and the cooling. Will the school make any money?
They are a not-for-profit organization, so I wasn't trying to make money off of them, but that's why we have the LSC approval, so that can be a discussion amongst the LSC. The suggested rental rate was $500 per month while they have programming going on, but that is open to discussion and why we have to have LSC approval.
But I think the other thing was, our students free to participate?
And that's what I was gonna ask.
That is the
You touched on that,
quick
but
So normally we charge $35 per student, but for Brunsville classical students, the fee will be waived.
And I guess speaking, addition to that question, is there going to be a capacity limit? I mean, again, being familiar, I think that once people learn more about it, there's going to be an abundance of students that want to participate. And how will you determine, at what process or what is your plan if you don't have enough staff or you have a larger demand than you anticipate?
Because the program is designed with middle school and high school, what has happened is that an amount of middle school or elementary and middle school girls have been graduated on to fit the high school. So now we have spots for the middle school girls. So while we don't foresee, that's an excellent question. We don't foresee capacity issues. We do have our application, which is out now. There is a cutoff for the application, which is the 31st. However, because we are extending this to the girls that are in Brownsville Classical, that some things can be adjusted. But that is for our Saturday Institute. We do have that cutoff. Now, because we are in our after school program with you guys, those capacities are at 20 girls per session. There may be girls that come to the after school program and then also want to be in the Saturday program, which you can do both if that's something that you would want to do, or one or the other. So I don't foresee any capacity issues, but you know, if it gets,
We do have a
if
cap.
it's in demand,
We do have a cap for Saturday.
Yeah.
I just don't know the exact cap now. Because we do have a waiting list of girls waiting to join Saturday.
Yeah.
We just don't have the spaces for it.
I have some questions too about after school. So with the lease, you said that there were 2 rooms plus the one that you have and the gym. Is that just for Saturday, or does that include after school as well?
After school is just the one class.
yeah, we're
Okay.
just in one class for after school.
And then we do have a lot of girls who, I agree with Mr. Flowers, that we're probably going to have a number of girls who want to participate. If their fee is waived, do they jump the line of the girls who paid? And if they do, if we have all of our 9, 10, 11-year-olds, that's a whole classroom in and of itself. So that's one classroom. So do you anticipate having to need more classrooms? Because we are already limited with classrooms when it comes to our after school that we have right now. So that's why I'm trying to get an idea of what does that look like with all of those
our
after school.
After school for us is already set. And we do have a cap. So for example, this first round for our 5th and 6th graders, the first thing we did was we looked at the data and we spoke to the counseling team and to the teacher teams. We took recommendations from those folks first, and then and those students have a reserved spot. And then we sent out just interest to every family, so families could sign up. So even if you are a fifth and sixth grade family and you didn't make it for the fall, you can be on the spring list. So
Are those two
ultimately,
separate sessions?
right, ultimately it's going to be 40 fifth graders and 40 sixth graders, which I think those is plenty of spots for our fifth and sixth graders. And so now that we know that it can go to 9 years old, so that could be our fourth graders, I'm going to defer to them on their expertise. That if we do have open spots, we're definitely not going to let them go to waste because we have paid for them. So we'll make sure that girls are in those seats. But the after school program is set to just one class on, I don't know, I can't remember if it's Tuesdays and then one class on Thursday. So one grade level will stay after school one day and the other grade level will stay after school the other day. So they only need, one class during after school. The Saturday program is their bigger program where they would need the 3 classrooms and the gym
Got it.
when no one is here.
I have a question that I hate to ask. And this is really not a question for you, it's more a question for Spice. Knowing that as we have had multiple discussions about the school program and having one vendor under our umbrella, how is it that we can have a second vendor that is not required to be a subcontractor of something built?
This vendor is not a catch-all after-school program. It is a specialized program that is very similar to Eagle Extras. It is before, well, it will be before the LSC next school year because it is in alignment with our CRWP around supportive and equitable discipline for all. So this is specifically tied to that priority, but because we didn't have an LSC last year when we were discussing this contract, this was approved before our LSC. So next year we will have Ladies of Virtue before the LSC to talk about what program is going to look like and how it's going to be aligned to our CIWP. It is only one day for 1 hour. So it is more so in the out of school time program lane and the Eagle Extra lane.
Will that fall under Eagle Extras?
Yes,
Or-
it will, Mr. Spears.
Wonderful.
And
There's
as the out of school time coordinator, I knew that question was coming.
There's also a question in the chat. Will this conflict with something to build upon or school sports?
It is going to be 1 hour after school from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So when the sports season starts, it is quite possible. Sports practice is typically right after school from 3 to 4 or 4:30 at the absolute latest. So yes, families may have to pick and choose. And if they are in the mentoring program, they may in the fall, then maybe they won't participate in fall sports. Or if you want to play fall sports, maybe you sign up for the spring. So families may have to make that difficult decision. But it's from 3 to 4, 1 day a week.
And the Saturday program is every Saturday?
It's every first and third Saturday.
So 2.
Oh.
There are no,
We don't play them here.
Ms. Spicer, do you know if any assessment or evaluation was done as to the cost per square foot that we places leased for in this area or schools for that matter?
No, Mr. Mitchell, I don't think that there was an evaluation conducted. However, in the questionnaire that CPS asked of schools, they asked us to take into account costs for custodians, costs for engineers, costs for extended day pay for any staff that may have to monitor the program. But typically, in this not-for-profit world, we try to be partners with our partners so that we gain access to valuable resources for our school community. But I don't know if there's another question that you want to ask, but no, that there was no official evaluation. The questionnaire just asked for a recommendation.
Okay.
Well, the motion's gonna be super specific,
Okay.
and the discussion should be really about what the motion is. So we should have a discussion before the motion comes.
Rich, I hear what you're saying. I didn't hear. Is there a motion?
No.
The question was, should we have a motion on the floor before having this discussion? And I said no, because the motion is gonna be specific, and discussion during a motion should be about what the motion is. These are questions so that if Ms. Spicer needs to amend what she was planning on motioning, she can motion specifically to cover those things. And if we need to have additional discussion, we will.
Does admin need to be present on the Saturday?
No, I just need to be accessible.
Okay, so that's it. That's the way it's.
Or Mr. Lewis, who has agreed to work on Saturdays. Yeah, and I mean, and I don't even think this is right here. Oh my gosh. We do have an additional person on our school leadership team. We have a resident principal this year. So we'll all probably take a month in like rotation. So over the course of the year, I may only have a month or two that I'm covering. AP Bellamy should have a month or two, and then our resident, Ms. Gillian, will have a month or two, maybe three. She may get that third. Is it 4? Yeah, something like that.
Just know you don't.
Yeah, our resident maybe.
There's a question in the chat too. What is the time frame for the Saturday classes?
The time frame for Saturday is from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and that's only because we need to set up and clean up.
For the participants.
Oh, for the participants, it's from 1 to 4:30.
Last question, is there a attendance requirement as it's on a Saturday and some of our children play sports? Is there a requirement that if they enter the program and for whatever reason they have activities or sports that they play and they can't attend, is it if they miss 2 sessions, 3 sessions, then they're out of the program, or what concessions are made for that?
We do have a attendance policy. You can only miss 6. You can have 6 absences for the year, but that doesn't mean you're kicked out for the year. You will still be able to finish the year. You just won't qualify for certain things.
Does that include both after school and Saturday, or is that
That's
just for
only-
Saturday?
Only Saturday.
Was there a question?
I think that's the end of the discussion, so I would like to make my motion to approve the rental to Ladies of Virtue for their Saturday gyms program, which would give them access to 3 classrooms and the gym on the first and third Saturday of the month for $500 per month.
Second.
Steve, sir?
He's muted. You're muted, Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, sorry about that. The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the specific motion that was made by Ms. Spicer?
I do want to say that there is a question in the chat, but it is not about this specific motion. So I'm going to, Ms. Barron,
So
I'm going
that
to
would
say
be out of order, according to Mr. Flowers.
point of information.
Fair enough. I did have a question.
Is it about this specific motion?
Just want to know if when we approve it, is it? And I guess this is from Spicer. When we're approving it, is it still going to the Department of Real Estate, or is it that once we approve it, it's a done deal, or is there another step?
Once we approve it, for the most part, it is pretty much a done deal. Real estate is going to make sure that all the legalities and the contract are proper and in order, but typically, if the LSC approves it, the principal supports it, real estate is gonna make it happen, as long as they can meet the legal requirements as it relates to background check, as well as certificate of insurance.
I just want to make sure.
Ms. Spicer, are the 3 classrooms that they're using, I get one is open, are the other 2 classes that teachers will be using, during the week?
More than most likely that is going to be the case because for their love room, they did bring in most of their own stuff because it was an empty room. We do have about 4 classrooms and a science lab that do not have furniture yet because we haven't purchased furniture for 7th grade, 8th grade, or the second science lab. So more than most likely, we will be using a classroom space probably on the second floor, so it's closer to their love room already.
So will there be an existing classroom where teachers are teaching on a daily or rooms that aren't being used?
That is yes, it will be the space that the teachers are using on a regular basis, which is what all of our after school providers use.
Okay. Any more discussion on the motion? All right, there being no more discussion, all those in favor of giving the contract to the Ladies of Virtue, say vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. That motion passes.
Okay. So I guess I'm asking a question. um,
I think you're out of order, Dr. Barron, according to Mr. Flowers, because the motion is already passed.
We're gonna wait till
Is it
public
about
participation
Yeah, it's about the program. I mean,
So,
because I know what the question is, and it's gonna be.
so if the question is for the ladies,
Yes.
It is.
it's not, okay. Well, Mr. Spears has read the question, so if it doesn't relate to this,
okay.
then I'll say,
Okay. All right.
okay. 'Cause I don't know the question.
I'm
Right.
sorry, I can't hear what you guys are saying.
Just save it for later for the public participation.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, I read it.
Mr. Mitchell,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hear you guys talk. I can't hear what you're saying, so I don't know what's going on.
for the next
Everybody know you-
agenda item.
We were just making sure we were in protocol.
Okay. All right, so the next issue is discuss and approve fundraisers for the school year.
Yes. So I really was trying to find this information in the LSC guidelines. So there are like 6 categories for fundraisers. One is fundraisers conducted independently by the school. The second one are fundraisers conducted by the school and a registered not-for-profit. One is by the school and not-for-profit. And then one for like catastrophic events, and then LSC fundraising. So I do have one from category 1, which would be photograph. Well, I'll do photographs in September. Just for the category 1 is going to be our Scholastic Book Fair. This book fair is something that we've done since the school opened, and it's related to the sale of book and literacy related items. We use the funds for instructional materials like book sets, mini lessons, and supplement to our instructional materials. It is for the entire school body. Selling prices go from 99 cents up to $100. We anticipate at least $1,000 of revenue from this. Right now, with Scholastic, we probably have about $7,600 from our book fairs this past school year, and so we're able to use those to buy literacy-based items from Scholastic for the school. And so I am just presenting that fundraiser for a fall and a spring book fair. Typically, we've done them during report card pickup week. That works marvelously for the spring. However, the fall is a different story. This is the first year that we are having Thanksgiving week off as a district. Back in Track East, some folks had it off for a week, but that Monday is report card pickup day. And so because report card pickup day falls on a Monday and we're out for that whole week, I think we're going to adjust our dates for the fall. But I do just want to put a motion to approve a Scholastic Book Fair fundraiser for the fall and for the spring for this academic school year.
Second,
Any discussion?
I have one point of discussion. If you do it the following week, it'll match the other 16 schools in the network that are also having bookings at that same time.
So maybe we'll do it the week before.
Just FYI.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Spread over 2 weeks, so it's half. 8 schools will do it the week of the 28th, and 8 will do it the week of the 6th. So you should be cool. And if you need to, if I need to talk to the folks that deliver, I talk to them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any further discussion regarding Scholastic Book Fair fundraiser? All right, there being none, all those in favor of the Scholastic Book Fair fundraiser, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. That passes. Other fundraisers, Miss Spicer?
The second one is our Welcome Back Chalk the Walk event that benefits the arts department. And we will be selling sidewalk squares to families to decorate to welcome their children back to school. And we are praying for no rain this year. The selling prices are underestimated here, so I'm gonna have to fix this for Ms. Jones. I believe the general squares were $25, and the premium squares I think were like $35. And the proceeds from this fundraiser will support the arts department. My motion is to approve the Chalk the Walk fundraiser for August 20th, 2022.
Second.
All right. Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion?
I have a question. So is the arts department trying to raise a specific dollar amount? Like, are they raising toward a specific end goal? What's the target for them?
I can speak to that probably. There's always needs when it comes to the arts department. I know Miss Forrest has, a lot of consumables that she uses in her class. So having funds to be able to purchase things like certain types of paper, certain types of pencils, or things like that. For myself, when we get our band up and running, although part of our grant that we receive is going to cover initial costs of things like reeds and valve oil, those are consumables that we're going to need to purchase all the time. And so having fundraisers like this will help things like those consumables, as well as things like going towards our art fest that we're going to have at the end of the year for costs about that when we start to flush that out towards the end of the year, costs for the musical or concerts that we might do in and out of school.
I love that. And so is there like a budget for all of those things that need to happen? Because I guess in my mind, I'm thinking, how do we backward map from that? So like, how do we come up with the $25 and $35 per square? Like, does that map directly onto what these costs are?
So this fundraiser is to supplement what I already budgeted. So as a part of our creative school certification, we have to show that we prioritize the arts at our school. And so the arts department typically does have a budget line to start the school year off. And I typically budget $5,000 for PE, $5,000 for music, and $5,000 for the visual arts. And so these fundraisers would just supplement those initial base budgeted funds. And this year we were able to buy a new kiln because the kiln we had, half of it heated, half of it didn't, and the cost of repair was the cost of a new one. So with that, she knows that there's going to be some initial startup costs for just like the clay and some of the different tools that she'll need for her pottery unit. So it's our first time kind of doing it. So we're just trying to figure out how it balances out. Typically, Mr. Spears and Ms. Forrest are incredibly resourceful and they recycle a lot of stuff. So they never really go over their budget, which is why at the end, like when Mr. Spears needs to make like a big purchase, or we were able to get the kiln because they didn't really use their funds throughout the school year. And then we also have student fees that offset that as well. So we just haven't had to do a big goal focus.
And we've also been fairly small, so we haven't had to use as much consumables. But now that we're, much bigger, we're going to be using those things much more frequently.
For sure. No, I absolutely love this idea. I'm just sort of thinking, put my fundraiser hat on. Like, typically, you're going to get the most money when you're encouraging people like we want to hit this target, then people are going to be all in and invested to help you with that target. So just something to think about moving forward. But I love this fundraiser.
We'll talk after because I have some ideas.
Yes, the connections.
All right. So where are we on the motion or?
It's been moved
We're in
and
discussion.
seconded.
Yeah, we're in
and
discussion. I think discussion's over.
August 20th.
August 20th, the Saturday before school starts.
Wasn't there another, was it?
Back to school that Friday, the 19th.
So,
We're talking about Friday the 2nd.
so wouldn't it be advantageous to have the opportunity for people to do that on the 19th?
Yes.
To maximize the money, because some people are gonna be like, I came here on Friday, I'm not coming back on Saturday, and I'm not paying. Where you might also get some people that aren't planning on coming back and just be like, oh, it's $35, cool, I'll pay, and do it right there, and that weren't planning on playing. So I'm saying to maximize the money of Mr. Barron, Dr. Barron stuff.
I do think that is a good idea. Friday is kind of it's an off day. So teachers are going to be compensated for their participation in our welcome back event because it's their teacher directed day by the labor contract. So contractually, I can't structure that day at all. And so the time that they're going to use for the welcome back event, I am compensating them like through extended pay because they are, doing something that's principal directed. So I would just have to check with Ms. Forrest to see, is she open to that? Which I mean, she's very adaptable, so I think that she would be fine. But we actually did not think about that. And last year, our back to school event and our chocolate walk wasn't back to back like that. So I do think that that's a great question to raise. I can amend the motion to change it just to approve the event and then give us the autonomy to pick the day. But I just want to base it on Ms. Forrest's availability because this is her thing. Oh, yes. I'd like to amend my motion from scheduling the chocolate walk on the 20th to just approving the chocolate walk event at Ms. Forrest's availability.
Second.
All right, great. Motion's been amended and second. Any discussion regarding the amendment? There being none, all those in favor of the amended motion regarding Chalk the Walk, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, super. That motion passes. Next up looks like school supply packs.
Yes, the last one is school supply packs, which I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This year we did not partner with a school supply company, and several families reached out about that. So I wanted to just go ahead and get the approval to participate in the school supply packs for next fall. And so those would start, or sales will start in May, and then they will go through August when school starts.
Second.
All right, any discussion regarding school supply packs? I just have a question. Why are we doing that so early if we're doing it in May of next year? Why wouldn't we wait until whenever?
So that it's done, Mr. Mitchell.
Okay.
What percentage, like what is the profit for the school? How much per pack?
I can't remember exactly how much per pack, but the packs really did range from maybe 35 to 55, depending on the grade level. And we probably got maybe $1,500 off of the sales. Mrs. Sally did a really good job of pushing back. She was just like, if we're paying this price, it needs to be brand name items. So like the first year we did it, not so much, but the second year we did start to get brand name items in the supply pack. So that would definitely be a part of the negotiations. I'll probably have Mr. Mitchell on that call with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. Any more discussion regarding the supply packs?
Yeah, those packs will be sent home, right? Shipped to the home.
Mr. Lewis is encouraging the ship to home option. So we will definitely put that a part of the contract, Mr. Lewis, that those do not come to the
Just let you know, this ain't what's, that's my home address. Ain't what's
All
root
right.
address. Attention, Mr. Lewis.
No, it won't be on the stage.
All right. Any more discussion?
No, sir.
All right, great. All those in favor of the school supply backpacks fundraisers in May of next year, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, super. That passes. Next up, we're going to discuss and approve, or we'll discuss the student athlete fee.
Point of order, or, yeah. I just want to do a time check that we are currently, approximately, week 15 minutes past our end time. We're probably about 25 minutes past our time allotted on the agenda, just so you're aware, Chair.
Yeah, and one of the things that we got to figure out just from a procedural perspective, for example, these things we're supposed to go into closed session and come out, doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So do we vote to continue that at another meeting? I guess for Ms. Spicer, which of these, the student fee, uniforms, transportation, I feel like we definitely need to get through that procedurally, guys. And Dwayne, maybe you know this. The other things, can we move that, move and have that at the next meeting, or how should we handle those items?
I make a motion to table the discussion around the student athlete fee until our September meeting.
Second.
No discussion.
Any discussion? All right, that passes.
Well,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we didn't vote. I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So that passes. What about the uniforms? That's both transportation. I'm sorry, transportation.
That transportation was for student athletes, so that's all.
Okay.
So you asked the question, Steve. What I would say is that if I know we're trying to get ahead of the curve on the principal selection work. So the question is, if we're extending the meeting time because people have time, have time to have that discussion and we can have it, and we're okay with that, we'll just do that by stay till we get that part done. The other part is to call a special before the scheduled meeting to handle that business, so that business can just get handled as a separate thing. And we should need to do that as soon as possible. Next week, teachers report. The other week, school starts. The whole thing goes to where once we start next week. So.
And even with that, isn't there a timing on that? Like, don't we have to, like you said, we're gonna do that?
Yeah. All of the things have to happen in order to call a special, have an agenda, say we have a special meeting. So.
we have published the agenda, published the date, so just like that.
Richard, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I said that if someone puts a motion on the floor to table those things and call a special meeting, then we still have the same protocols where we need to figure out the date, publish the agenda for the special,
Right.
The 48 hours, so forth. So it's just that we still have all the same protocols. That's all we were saying.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely, because I talked with Mr. Pittman about both those, but my question is regarding tonight, the fact that we posted those on the agenda, that we're going to go in the closed session and then come back out and vote on those things. Do we just simply make a motion to table that pursuant to whatever, the special meeting or whatever? How do we handle that procedurally?
Or, Mr. Mitchell, could we make a motion to extend the end time if people are okay with staying a little bit longer, maybe we can just move to extend the time so we can handle this business and get it done now, because it seems like it'll be more cumbersome of us to try to call this special meeting if people are okay with staying just a little bit longer to get this done.
Yeah, I don't think we have to make a motion to extend. We don't have a definitive end time. I think we could just do it.
Perfect. All right. I would say we just push forward then if people are okay.
Okay, so before we do that, since we're gonna close, can we give the people their 10 minutes
Yeah.
for public comment? And then they can go on and we can do whatever we need to do.
So I move to have public comment now, and then go into closed session and come back out to vote.
Second.
All right, any discussion regarding moving the public comment to now?
Yes. If we're moving public comment to now, then you don't give the public opportunity to, when we come back in the open session, the public has the right to comment on anything that's discussed.
But also, so, okay, just point of information, the question, comments, and concerns, that's what we're saying we're trying to move to right now.
No,
No.
public comment.
Okay, but would they still be able to do that in that
Still
section?
around.
Yeah, point of information for that, it would be during the discussion portion, wouldn't it?
For each motion.
For each motion, they could ask questions during that portion.
But you're still gonna get an opportunity to
Allow the
As long
public
as it's
ask
still around.
questions.
Yeah.
ask questions during
As long as
During
it's
that-
still around.
during the comment part. Yep, sounds good.
Okay,
We're
I
good.
think we can move forward.
You can go.
Okay, so there's been a motion. Any further we had a second and some discussion. Any further discussion? All right, those in favor of moving the public comment to right now, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, cool. So next on the agenda, we'll have the public comment. Are there any, I can't see what's in the public. So are there any public comments?
Yes, there are a couple. So one of the comments was someone said, Mr. Alameen said, from past LSC experience, should there be a separation of votes for the ice cream and the tacos from the principal's report so they can be agenda items posted 48 hours in advance?
Okay, repeat that again. He's saying, I just repeat it again.
Sure. It says, from past LSC experience, should there be a separation of votes, talking about the ice cream and the tacos from the It's Eagle Time event, from the principal's report so that they can be agenda items posted 48 hours in advance?
My response to that is the ice cream was an informational thing because it was
Less than $1,000.
It was less than $1,000. So
And it's
and it's not coming out of the budget line in that way. It's existing funds. So
And the
Yeah.
taco truck was on the
the
agenda.
taco truck was things that we had to vote on because of what the outlay was, and the amount was over $1,000.
But I do see
I
that
think yeah.
that it was just budget review. And so I think that's just good feedback moving forward. I can just make those separate agenda items, based on the resources that were provided by Marcus when we were making the agenda. I did not see those delineated separately, but moving forward, absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree. I did talk with Marcus about that very thing. And I guess to put on belts and suspenders, we could, delineate the two, but technically it is under budget review, so we're okay. But just because we want to be as informative and as cooperative as possible, I think it would be good to delineate as much as possible.
There's also a comment, a recommendation that there are two public participations, one at the top of the call, one at the top of the meeting, and another at the end of the meeting. Was a recommendation in the public
Duly
questions.
My only concern with that is that these typically are in the evening, like after everybody is working. And so I think that for us to be efficient, I think that we have to keep it to a specific time frame. And if we in this meeting just voted that public comment is going to be at the end, when we post the agenda, people will know what time public comment is going to be. So if you want to share a public comment, you can share your public comment. Even with our board meetings with the district, public comment is at a specific time during the meeting, and that is it. I want to be very respectful of the council's time, but also working with the school community to make sure their voice is heard. But if it is at a scheduled time on an agenda that is posted 48 hours in advance, and if we're going to use the Google Forms to submit questions, these are recorded. So if you submit your question, we'll make sure that it gets answered and it is recorded even if you are not able to be present.
A suggestion would be, since we said we were going to create an email for the council, that we have, the meeting dates are posted. Everybody knows what the dates are and the times of the meetings. We will set a date prior to that, that if you have something that you would like to be discussed in the meeting, that you're required to email it by a certain date and time, and then we will, before the secretary publishes the agenda, we can have a discussion if those items will be added to the agenda. So that gives people opportunity to have something that they are concerned about being put on the agenda.
Also, in the virtual environment, it's like you line up to have public comments. So you sign up and line up. So the email can serve as a virtual sign up, and you've got people, in person, and there's an in-person sign up, and you just divide it up that way.
And there's also a limit too. The board only takes so many comments.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's it.
going forward during public comment, we do a timer. That's how we do for CTU meetings. When they come up to the microphone, they have 2 minutes or whatever it is, and then there has to be a motion to extend the comment section if we run out of the 15 minutes that is allotted on the agenda. There are some other public comments. Will there be any type of mentoring program or programs for boys?
Yes, Mr. Davis, our community representative, was just mentioning bringing some resources for that. So in September, we'll definitely add that as an agenda item to circle back for our boys.
I don't know if these are LSC questions, but I'm going to ask them anyway, and we can decide on whether or not they are appropriate for this. Two questions are the same. What sports will be offered in the fall, and what sports will be offered in the spring, and when is the sign up for those sports?
So that is a complicated question, only because what is offered is not always what's available at every school. So I'm gonna let Mr. Lewis share what fall sports are available, but all sports offerings are dependent on coaches for those sports. If I have a person who wants to volunteer to coach, it's much easier. But if I have someone who is not a CPS employee who wants to be compensated for coaching, it is a very, very, very complicated process. And because Mr. Lewis is who he is, he ended up sharing his stipend with somebody because we weren't able to compensate them because, of course, elementary school sports are not treated like high school sports. So it's just a little bit different. So Mr. Lewis, can you just share what sports are available? And if you know if we have coaches for those sports for the fall, and like winter and spring, they just vary a little bit. So we can answer specifically the fall sports options.
They have not released the sports for fall this year, but from last year.
For elementary.
Right.
For high school, they have.
Right. For boys soccer, girls volleyball, and then boys and girls cross country. So those are the sports that they released last year. I don't know what they're going to tell us this year. That won't come out until the 26th. Once it comes to me, then I get it out and the packets will be released. Everybody can do the sign up. But the sign up will have all of the sports for each season. So you can sign up in September for whatever you want for the school year. So.
There are two more comments right now. There's a comment that says, I would like to know if you're aware of the large price disparities between Poe, BCS, and Beasley school care programs through Something to Build Upon.
I am superficially aware of the price differences. I'm going to speak to the size of our after-school program in relation to those others, and then I want to share some pricing that I also researched on my own. So Poe, their school hours are from 9 until 4. Poe has one class per grade level. Our kindergarten class right now is at 53, 54. Their kindergarten class is at 12. Our student population is 380. Theirs is just above 200. So with the school hours and the size of the school, the size of the program, the staffing of the program, the materials needed to run the program, and the vendors for the program are vastly different. Beasley is a school of 1,100. They have a regional gifted center as well as a neighborhood component, as well as probably about 20 buses that go to that school. So their school hours are 8:45 to 3:45. So the size of their programming, the staffing of their program, materials needed to run their program are vastly different. I don't know what the operating cost is for something to build upon, but what I do know is historically, we have had almost 50% of our student body staying after school. So that requires personnel, materials, and contracts for structured activities after school. That requires a lot more than some of the schools that have been mentioned in this post. When I looked at High Park Neighborhood Academy or High Park Neighborhood Club for 5 days, it is $3,830 for the year maybe, or $447 per month, which is more expensive than something to build upon's base price of $333. They also require a deposit of $250, and their sibling discount is 10%. Right at School at Murray is $293 a month. Right at School at South Loop is $396 a month. JS School is not even offering their after-school program anymore. So that's what I can say about pricing.
There's a question about, is there additional information on after-school programming, including a part-time option and a sibling discount? I think you addressed
So
both of those.
the after-school programming has been sent out. If someone missed that information, they can email me directly. The part-time option is available for something to build upon only. It is on their website. I believe the 3 days is $275 maybe, and then the sibling discount is 10%, which is the market value.
That's the last comment.
I move that we close public comment.
Second.
I don't think we have to move that, but okay, we can do it just to do it. Been seconded. Any discussion regarding that? All right. All those in favor of closing public comment, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So it appears as though we were going to go ahead and move through the closed session, correct?
Mhm.
All right. So we're now going to go into the closed session. We will be back for those who are interested. Thank you.
I'll wait for the secretary. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Dr. Falk, don't do it like that.
She followed all the protocols, but I got the hours to work.
I know she did. I know she did.
Mr. Chair.
The minutes reflect the parliamentarian.
Right.
Hold on 1 second. Mr. Chairman, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
I want to make sure the audio is working. Go ahead, Mr. Flowers.
I am going to be leaving, so I'm going to ask our secretary to reflect that I am departing the meeting before it is over, and I am going to ask my fellow council member, Ms. Pope, to act as parliamentarian in my stead.
Done.
Thank you, Mr. Flower. Thank you for your service. All right, so Mr. Spears, are we back in the open session?
Yes, we are. We've been
All right,
back.
great. All right, so thank you, BSC community, for obliging us while we're in closed session. We are back into open session, and we're going to continue with the agenda. Are there any motions that need to be entertained?
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda for our last section to strike the vote on the interview questions and the rubric. It'll be tabled to the next meeting.
Second.
All right, the motion has been made and second. Any discussion regarding the motion? There being no discussion, all those in favor of the motion vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Continuing on with the agenda, the job description for the principal. Any motions regarding the same?
Another motion public. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the job description as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Any discussion regarding that? Motion been made and seconded. There being no discussion, all those in favor vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So it looks like we're at the end. Is there any motion to adjourn the meeting?
No.
One more thing.
What's it? I don't see what.
To submit the principal job description to the number 9 chief.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, the motion's been made to submit the job description and seconded. Any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Super. And we tabled the vote on the rubric and the questions. So we need a motion. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Any discussion regarding the same? All those in favor of adjourning, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Thank you, guys. See you in September.
Thank you.